Tuesday, July 9th, not far off. LiveNation.com has all the details. Tickets, info, everything else. If you want to truck it to Youngstown and check out Whiskey Myers, be caller 10. And you will. A couple of tickets for you. 216-578-1007 or 800-348-1007.
You know that part of your brain that regulates good decision-making? Thanks for turning that one off and turning on the Alan Cox Show.
Sorry about all the cocks.
On 100.7.
Came out. Anyway, a person in the Goofy costume at Disney World in Orlando called out a woman, an old woman, who squeezed their butt in the Goofy costume. Got the cops involved. I imagine if your job is walking around in those costumes, you probably have a crazy short fuse because people are pawing at you all day long.
So hot.
And it's hot and you're angry, but like you're also, that's your job. Sorry. I mean,
But it's not your job to get grabbed.
But an old lady.
Send her to jail.
Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like 6 months for her.
Yeah. A 32-year-old male cast member. They're not employees at Disney. They're cast members.
That way they don't have to pay benefits.
Or whatever. I love when you're going to the movies and there's the advertisement for hiring people to movies. And it says, want to start your career in show business? Working at the movies?
In film.
Yeah. 32-year-old male cast member who was in the Goofy costume was taking pictures with a family. And 3 of the family members were on his one side, and Grandma stood on his left side and put her arm around. And then the police report said the grandmother placed her right hand on his butt, squeezed 3 times, and said, woohoo! The person in the Goofy costume stopped the meet and greet to alert a park attendant that he had been groped. The grandma got a little bit indignant, and the family walked off. The woman was in her 60s and wearing leggings and a black Minnie Mouse shirt that says, Nana Mouse. You know, people at Disney World are really into Disney. Mm-hmm. And so the person in the Goofy costume, after getting groped by Granny, filed a report. And the conversation got pretty heated. The grandma said, I didn't do anything. Goofy wants us to leave now. The person in the Goofy costume wanted to prosecute her for battery. Now, listen, I don't think anybody should be touching anybody that doesn't want to be touched. But you are in a dumb cartoon character costume, and you're going to be taking pictures with people all day long.
But again, that still doesn't mean you can touch their butt.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess.
Just because someone's dressed up like Goofy, like if someone's dressed like Cinderella, can you touch their butt?
Well, that's like a 25-year-old girl in a Cinderella costume.
But
if it's an old, I take your point, but if it's an old lady and she's like, ooh, she's first of all not really grabbing, she's not grabbing your ass, she's grabbing Goofy's ass. He feels it because he's in the costume.
And that's a whole nother level.
It's even worse, actually.
Not good.
Yeah.
So this lady needs to go to prison forever.
Alan, you guys are talking about celibacy. Celibacy is lifelong non-sex. Well, that's not true. No, it's not lifelong. Celibacy, it's usually for religious reasons, but celibacy is just somebody that's not having sex. Mary is thinking about perhaps asexual people. Those are people
I
who
know
have
what
no
asexual
interest.
is.
Yeah, have no interest in sex. And by the way, you know, people who have no interest in sex, you know, there's a group of people called sapiosexuals, by the way. These are the people who have to form a deep connection with intelligence before they can even think about getting turned on.
Oh, that's me.
So Bill's a guy. You've got to be Mensa level, ladies.
No.
To even get.
What's the opposite of sapiosexual? I think
A
that's what I
man.
am.
You got to be dumb as a rock.
I just want you to be on my level.
Oh, what's your level?
Dumb as a rock.
You're not dumb as a rock, though.
I'm rocking this dumbness. Though.
Yeah. So no, celibacy is not lifelong. It's just you're not currently having sex. Alan, I knew a guy in college who was known for his extracurriculars, and for a full semester he was celibate because he didn't want to be that guy any longer. But one of my roommates had a lady boner for him and tried everything she could to break his celibacy, and he didn't give in. Think about that. Yeah, no, listen, some people, they have a little mental come to Jesus, for lack of a better term. But Jesus knew how to party.
He only really threw a few.
And a vow of celibacy, that's when you're talking about clergy.
Yeah.
But celibacy itself is not a lifelong thing. You're just like, I'm not having sex right now. I'm going to get my mind right. A lot of people go to that. They go, it's causing me problems. Yeah, of course.
Break, yeah.
Goofy should have, somebody suggested that Goofy should have stompled that old lady.
Oh, yeah. That'd have been the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Grew up to my granny at the grog shop this weekend. Ooh, congratulations. Hooters waitstaff is in costume. Can old men grab them? Again, I get what you're doing, but I think it's a false equivalency. I think there's a double standard there. If you grab a 25-year-old girl's ass at Hooters, you're grabbing her ass. An old lady, I'm just saying, I think you, there's two things at play here. Should the grandma be grabbing Goofy? No. Should a 32-year-old man in a Goofy costume file a report because the old lady did it?
Like, you want to be touched.
I get it, but you pick your battles, homie.
He picked this battle. This is the battle he wants.
Against the old lady.
Yes.
Who went, woohoo. I mean, these people,
Maybe she got whole. Like,
you have people who.
Say to say.
Mm-hmm. This older generation needs to learn how to act. They don't respect anybody. They just do whatever they want, and they just act like because they were able to buy houses.
But that's the beauty of getting old. That's what everyone wants when they get older, is to be able to do whatever they want. That's what we are all going to want when we're old. Mm-hmm. I'm old. I can do whatever I want. I outlived all of you sons of bitches.
It doesn't involve molesting cartoon characters.
Cartoon characters.
You can't do that. It's wrong on three levels. One, she molested a person. Yeah. Two, she molested a dog.
Yeah.
And three, a cartoon character. So, really depraved stuff. Really, really gross.
And like a 9-foot cartoon dog.
Yeah.
Alan, I wore a mascot costume one time. I have never had my D grabbed as much as when I was wearing that thing. People don't think to just ask, but they want to know your gender.
Yeah,
what the hell?
Well, that's got nothing to do with grabbing your crotch. Let me give you some money here. It's a last chance today to get some money, $1,000 from the Buzzard bookie, and then we'll start it up all over again tomorrow. But it's the last week for it, so listen closely, and I hope you win.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Fun. That's fun. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
Hello, who's this?
This is Mark.
Mark, how are you? I keep losing my screen here. What's up, Mark?
I'm good, Alan. I did I was a costume character once. You're talking about the guy who was a costume
for you. Yeah.
Thank you. I was hoping for that. Yeah, you're talking about the guy who got molested. I did it at Cedar Point many years ago when they had them there, not as a Snoopy character, but I was a Papa Bear. They always have a helper person, for lack of a better term, like at Bear Country, it was a Bear Scout, with them because of stuff like that. Not only do they get molested, but we got the crap beat out of us. I mean, kids would give us flying tackles. I've seen kids just literally walk up and punch one of the bears in the nose, and everything and anything. That's another reason they're also only out for a half an hour at a time.
I mean, are those gigs, do you make a lot of money? I mean, what's the upside to doing this job?
Okay, well, it's because I did it at Cedar Point, and I also did other live show gigs at Cedar Point, and I have friends who did it at Disney. Compared to the other gigs within the live shows department, not the other, selling soda gigs, but within the live shows department, it is on the lower end. It's not as much as the performers in the shows or as the technicians, but it is higher pay than most of the other crap jobs in the park.
Wow. How long did you do that?
But Cedar Point, I did it for. There were 2 summers that I did it around doing summer theater. So I actually did IMAX at the beginning of the summer and then Bear Country at the end of the summer. So it was a couple months total,
Wow.
about 3 months total. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rough, man.
Having lived in Bear Country, would you choose a man or a bear?
I'm sorry, what? Say it again?
You've done Bear Country. Would you choose a man or a bear?
I chose a man.
I saw.
I know you did, theater boy.
I saw Tiger. Okay, thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. Love you
Theater
guys.
boy, thank you. Yeah, you did, theater boy. No, listen, it's poor form for anybody to be grabbing somebody else. That's true. I'm just thinking of it from the perspective of I'm a 30-year-old guy in a goofy costume. In that particular situation and an old lady, but like I said, these people, I get it, they're contending with it all day long, and she was probably on, because you're not filing a battery complaint against every kid that kicks you in the ass or is jumping at you. I mean,
But a kid's different than an old lady. An old lady should
well, now
know
who's got
better.
double standards?
Children.
We're supposed to be teaching our children the same thing.
Yeah.
So they got to hold them to the same standard. Hey, don't do that.
Put that old lady on Britney Spears Island where she can just do whatever she wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really like the island idea.
You really are
I've gone back to it a couple
locked
times.
into the, you're obsessed with the Epstein Island concept.
Just put Britney on there.
You're thinking of it as like a social penal colony or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can, but like it can become like entertainment for us to watch these wild people just exist.
Oh, it would be like live streamed or whatever. I see.
Yeah,
We'd have
like-
access to it.
Yeah, like Big Brother.
Yeah. Boy, you did that. You did that Aaron Maddox story in Perez Bilton.
Yeah.
That is gross.
Yeah, he's real gross.
I mean, that dude was never like a thing, right?
He wasn't like a
He
big
played
star,
like
I
a
think.
dozen games with Boston, but then he got hurt. Even though he got a ring, they won the World Series the next year, and I think they gave him a ring because he was still technically on the team. But they had this big sting operation in Florida called Valiant Nights. This was in Jacksonville, Florida. We hear from Rich a lot down there. And the sheriff, Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters, was given the rundown on the whole thing.
Serious felonies, including coercing sexual activity for human trafficking, which is a first-degree felony, and several others. Among the 27 individuals who were arrested in this predator sting was Kevin Pierce. Pierce was employed as a maintenance worker by the Duval County Public Schools at the time of his arrest.
Right, so the janitor at one of the public schools is creeping on kids, and they scoop him up. I like how they immediately shame all these people. At least give you the high points of the people. They scooped up 27 people in this.
He traveled to a prearranged location with the intent of engaging in sexual conduct with a 13-year-old child. Chad Sadlowski, a respiratory therapist, traveled with the intent of engaging in sexual activity with an 8-year-old child.
Jeez.
Kill
Let
all
that
of these
sink
people.
in, an 8-year-old.
Send them to Epstein Island.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
Well, no, they just
No,
go
no.
away.
nuke
Goodbye.
it from space. It's the only way to be sure.
They didn't give this guy the Chris Hansen treatment where you're like, sit down. What were your intentions here? No, when he opens the door, they just storm him and like tackle him and beat the crap out of him.
Oh, yeah,
Which
there's
I
no
like.
lemonade and chocolate chip cookies
Yeah.
for these guys.
I can't
like
control
it.
my horny level.
No, I'm very happy about it. I watched it like 8 times.
Austin Maddox, a former Red Sox MLB player, traveled with the intent of engaging in sexual activity with a 14-year-old child. Malcolm McGee, employed by the Army National Guard as a sergeant, traveled with the intent of engaging in sexual activity with a 14-year-old child.
Oh my God.
A sergeant in the National Guard. Well, every other weekend.
People are sick.
JSO and our partners put the highest priority on the safety and security of our children. As the internet provides new and frightening opportunities for predators to victimize our children, our investigators, along with those of our partner agencies, will continue to proactively identify and apprehend child predators before they have the opportunity to act upon their perversions.
You know, 27 people got scooped up, and he named 4 of them. And if you're one of the 23 other people, you're like, oh, thank God. Maybe I can hide this.
No.
Range in age from 19 to 69 years old, and come from all kinds of different backgrounds. There is no, that's what can be, I would imagine, is so frustrating for law enforcement when it comes to child assault, sex crimes, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no, I mean, it's men. It's all men.
Yeah.
But
It's
there's
usually
no
white
rhyme
men.
or, yeah, there's no rhyme or reason. Well, no, I don't know if it's usually white men. It's
I feel
men.
like all the guys on To Catch a Predator were like in their mid-40s.
There's a
men.
lot
That's
of
network
different
TV. That's
yeah.
a casting thing.
But anytime they post all of the photos of the guys that they scoop up in these dragnets, there's white guys, there's Asian guys, there's Latino guys. I mean, but it's guys. But there's, as far as like backgrounds, there's no rhyme or reason for these people. Austin Maddox, though, is the headline because he played for the Boston Red Sox. 36-year-old.
They should probably give back that World Series they won. That's what I'm thinking.
Matthew Moses thought he was talking to a stepmother who was going to arrange for him to have sex with her stepdaughter.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a guy who watches too much porn.
Remember that? There was that radio guy that got busted, and that's what he thought.
Dave
the
Herman.
situation- Yeah.
Dave Herman was a guy who had a legendary career in New York radio. This guy. He was on the air in like mostly New York, but Philly and, this Dave Herman was on the air for 50 goddamn years. He died in Newark prison, or jail rather, like county jail, while he was waiting for his trial to start. He had an aneurysm. That couldn't happen to a nicer guy. No, they scooped him up in the Virgin Islands. He had a vacation home down there. And he thought he was talking to a woman who was going to let him have sex with her daughter. And it was a Homeland Security agent. And they scooped him up. And his attorneys were like, he wanted to get with the mother, not the daughter. This is just one big misunderstanding. But Dave Herman was a guy who had a great voice, an amazing career, and all he's going to be known for is this.
When I think about those, like these types of things, and I'm just like, just think of how many times they didn't get caught. Like, this is no one ever gets caught doing it for the first time.
Yeah.
What bad luck. You know what I mean? This is not no one's first time doing this. That's what's so disgusting.
Yep. Okay, I've got to take a break here. Guardians baseball set up for 6:10 tonight. We'll get out of here a little bit early, but that is straight ahead of you. Second of 3 against the Mets at Progressive Field.